This October looks like a lot of trying to keep the peace and be fair, but realizing that sometimes being the bigger person means a bit of conflict. I think a lot of our relationships and social dynamics are going to go through some upheaval and reorganization this October. So it doesn't look bad, but definitely looks like all over the place with navigating energy between people. So if you're excited to dive into what we can collectively expect from this October 2021, make sure that you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so that we're always up to date with what the stars have in store for you. Before we do get started, I want to mention Swan Bitcoin, the safest, easiest place for you to dollar cost average or repeatedly buy into Bitcoin. Just filmed an awesome podcast about the importance of Bitcoin, which I will link down below, which will come out far before this, but if you have not heard it, that will talk about that. This is not sponsored, it's just a ref link that I will link down below because you get $10 of free Bitcoin when you use it, and I do think that even if you don't buy Bitcoin, it's important to know about in the world today. So yeah, plug over. Hi, I'm Maren. I am a professional astrologer and I'm into crypto and other weirdo things, and I use the tropical zodiac within Western Hellenistic astrology if you're wondering how I do things, using whole sign houses, which doesn't really apply to this video, but if you do watch your October horoscope for your rising sign, you will know how these show up in your chart based on your whole sign houses. So check those out if you have not already seen those. So we start out the month with Venus at home in Libra, squaring Pluto in Capricorn. Venus at home, very strong in a sign that is then supportive of it, given it's its home sign, is squaring Pluto, an aspect of manipulation and underhanded power dynamics. So the month starts out on a note of trying to keep the peace through underhanded power dynamics and manipulation. So be cautious about both paranoia and being someone's fool. Look at your beliefs and try to see what lines up most clearly with your values and act as transparently as possible around that. Then from the 5th to the 10th, the Sun will conjoin Mars in Libra. So the Sun and Mars are both at a disadvantage in Libra. The Sun is exalted or lifted up royally in the sign of Aries, the opposite sign, whereas Mars is at home because it rules Aries, the opposite sign. So it is then in its exile or in a foreign country in the sign of Libra. So the Sun is fallen or at a marked disadvantage of showing itself in Libra, and Mars is in its exile or in a foreign country with how it has to manifest in Libra. The Sun is exalted and very powerfully comfortable in Aries, where it can focus on itself and be very direct. Versus in Libra, a sign of the other or weighing all options, the Sun, the masculine ego of creativity in the world, is a bit overwhelmed on how to be direct when we're weighing all sides. Mars is similarly at home in Aries because it's able to be direct and confident in its action, even impulsive with its courage, without Libra, where things are more complicated and might be overthinking. So the Sun conjunct Mars in Libra from the 5th to the 10th looks like a time of, this is gonna sound terrible, it's gonna be like a time of being a pussy. Like, just like you're like not making decisions, you're not acting very directly, does not look like the time for trusting others to be direct or assertive. So it's a good time if you do need a moment to consider all sides and there's not a rush. It could be great for that, but definitely not the time to take action. We're also in a Mercury retrograde for about the first 2.5 weeks. So that's another thing to consider, that this is a time of reconsideration and weighing out options, not the time of stepping up to the plate necessarily and finalizing plans. On the 6th, there is a new moon in Libra, a new beginning to start something from the ground up. Given the fact that this is happening with the Sun conjunct Mars, this looks like a new beginning built on passive, aggressive, shaky ground. So I will have a full video up on this new moon that you can watch for the full details and then see how this shows up in your chart. But this is not the new moon to do something that needs a firm foundation. This is a new moon to do something socially that is built on instability or a new kind of frame of mind that is not set in stone. On the 9th, there's a Sun-Mercury Cazimi in Libra, or a Sun-Mercury conjunction. With Mercury retrograde still and the Sun being illumination, I think this is showing a kind of missing piece of the reconsideration process that you're now finally landing on. Like, you're weighing out all these options and you're finally like, boom, okay, I see that missing piece. I'm willing to now reroute even further because of that missing piece I've now gotten. From the 16th to the 18th, the Sun in Libra is then squaring Pluto in Capricorn. So with the Sun squaring Pluto, this is even more overtly ego power play dynamics, so watch out for people in power fighting over gaining control, fighting over their ability to assert authority from the middle of the month. On the 18th, we do have Mercury stationing direct in Libra. So Mercury stationing direct means that slowly but surely from here on out, we will be able to be more direct and more precise, more assertive with our communication. Mercury will still be in a shadow or in the same range that it was retrograde in for the rest of the month. But from the 18th forward, there is a regained ability to therefore speak and communicate a little bit better. On the 18th as well, Jupiter will be stationing direct in Aries. So from July into October, Jupiter has been retrograde or looking like it was moving backwards in the sky. Now Jupiter moving forward means that it will move towards re-entering Pisces at the end of the year. So Jupiterian topics of progress, of growth, of opportunity, and wherever Jupiter is in your own chart right now, transiting through the Aquarius whole sign house, is now going to grow and move forward rather than feel like it was a time of moving back and reconsidering. I might do a full video on Jupiter being direct. Let me know if that sounds good to you, because this will go out far before, a few weeks before Jupiter does station direct, so let me know if you want a full video on that and maybe what I see. From the 18th to the 20th, Mars in Libra will trine Jupiter in Aquarius, which is actually great for getting things done on an optimistic note. Mars still being a bit uncomfortable with being decisive in Libra. However, trine Jupiter does ensure that there's a bit more optimism and willingness to work together as we're all indecisive and unsure where to go to eat. We're like, well, let's talk it out instead of being like, you pick, you pick, you pick. We're like, we're all happy here. We'll walk instead of run, even if that is a bit slower for everyone. On the 20th, there's a full moon in Aries, an ending that definitely looks like a cord cutting without closure, because with the sun and Mars still close together, and those tending to be like the masculine assertive forces, and those being like kind of wimping out right now, it looks like this ending is a social ending that comes without the closure of stepping up to the plate and not being a coward. So it's not bad necessarily, but I do encourage you to watch the video on that once it comes out, because it's a full moon that definitely has an eek quality to it of people not stepping up and being direct. From the 21st to the 23rd, Mars in Libra will square Pluto and Capricorn, and this is kind of the gnarlier point in time of the month, I think, is when Mars in Libra will be squaring Pluto, because Mars in Libra already has trouble being direct, trouble stepping up to the plate. It's great for acting in a way that's like keeps the peace, it doesn't get much done, but no one dislikes you. But like squaring Pluto, it's like people's passive aggression and not being direct is gonna hurt. Like this is gonna really be like a rug pull or pulling the band-aid off for a loss later if we're not direct now. So 21st to 23rd as Scorpio season begins, watch for this manipulation to be just like really gnarly that no one is talking about this. From the 26th to the 28th, Venus is then in Sagittarius, so it's leaving Scorpio where it was a bit more intense, and it's entering Sagittarius where Venus is a bit more lighthearted for the second half of the month. But Venus is also squaring Neptune, and so Venus and Sag is already rose-colored glasses, lighthearted, squaring Neptune, which is an aspect of tension with the planet of delusion and grandeur, is great for rose-colored glasses and looking over the blatant reality in front of us. So you might be choosing not to see the harm that someone is imposing on you or that you're causing because of just not changing your ways. End of the month does look kind of like, oh, this is fine. And then you might get wronged later with someone ripping you off or not telling the truth, and you're now having to deal with that. From the 29th to the 30th, we do end the month with the sun in Scorpio squaring Saturn in Aquarius. So the sun square Saturn is a lot of inhibition and creative fear. It's great for thinking twice around executing your will or imposing your power on someone. It is a bit frightening for actually getting things done. So this entire month looks like, oof, a big circular, like weighing out all the options that can hopefully launch forward once the rubber band is ready to springboard in the other direction, but definitely ends on a note of fearful insecurity and thinking twice about our own ego in the world. So if you have any thoughts around this as this is coming upon us and looks very circular and complicated, do let me know down below in a comment or anything you see this manifesting as in the world. And now let's pull a tarot card to see the tarot card for October for the collective and how this is going to end up. If I can pull one right here. We have the King of Stalks, or the King of Pentacles here. And this card represents pretty blatant, like sitting on top of the world with a mountain of cash and like all your real estate and your gold and being like, I got this. So this is a reminder that even if people are making you feel unsafe, you're okay. Like, you're sitting pretty. It does not matter what these people think. It does not matter what the optics are. What matters is you and your money and your safety right now. So like, this frivolity and social dynamic bullshit, it's important to learn from, but it's not important in and of itself. So with that being said, do let me know down below any thoughts, feelings, comments you may have. And if you have not already, like, subscribe and hit the notification bell. It does help. It does help. So yeah, I will see you in the next video. Sending all the love and have an awesome October.